You know the cycle. It begins in silence. A productive day, a focused mind, a promise to yourself. Today will be different. You have the knowledge. You've watched the motivation videos. Read the books. You know the sound bites about discipline and focus by heart. You feel in control. And then, the day ends. The fatigue sets in, a hint of stress, a moment of loneliness, and that urge, like an ancient animal, awakens at the base of your spine. Your mind, which minutes before was a fortress of logic and determination, becomes a brilliant lawyer in service of your weakness. You deserve a break. It's just to relax. It doesn't hurt anyone, and all your knowledge, all your motivation, your entire self-help library, is worth absolutely nothing. The body acts before the conscience. The click, the release, the seconds of a pleasure that barely disguises the taste of defeat, and immediately after, the emptiness, the brain fog returns. The energy drains away. The silent shame, and the broken promise, once again. You're not just tired. You are spiritually exhausted. Tired of starting over, every single day. Why does this happen? Why can a man have all the knowledge in the world about what to do, and still be incapable of commanding himself in the most crucial moment? The answer is the most dangerous lie ever told to the modern man. The lie that pleasure is freedom. The world sold you this idea, that the more you satisfy yourself, the freer you are. That masculinity is measured by the number of conquests, by the intensity of your experiences. But look honestly at the results. The more you seek instant pleasure, the more of a slave you become. You are not free. You are a slave to dopamine, needing bigger and bigger hits of stimulus just to feel normal. You are a slave to distraction, unable to sit in silence with your own thoughts. You are a slave to spiritual exhaustion, trading your innate power, your life force, 4 peaks of pleasure that last 4 seconds and cost you days of clarity and purpose. Every time you give in to the urge, a piece of your spirit dies out. You feel it. You feel the emptiness right after. You feel your ambition diminishing. You feel your presence becoming weaker, more transparent. You are being emptied, drained, and weakened, and the culture around you applauds it as if it's normal. But what if I told you the problem isn't your lack of motivation? What if I told you the problem isn't your lack of knowledge? The problem is that you are trying to fight a war without ever going through a warrior's initiation. You are trying to build a temple without ever learning to consecrate the foundation. There is a path, an ancient, forgotten journey, hidden on purpose, that unites the wisdom of Tantra, the discipline of alchemy, and the depth of male psychology. A path that is not based on motivation hacks, but on real transformation. A path divided into 7 sacred initiations, 7 gateways that every man must pass through to stop being a slave to his sexual energy and become its master. 7 tests that separate the boys from the men, the reactive from the creators, the slaves from the sovereigns. This is not a journey of repression. We are not going to tell you to hate your desire or to become a monk. On the contrary, we are going to teach you to honor this fire, to contain it, to purify it, and to use it as the fuel for your greatness. In this video, we will give you the map for this journey. We will reveal each of these 7 initiations. The first, which happens in absolute silence, where you confront the void for the first time. The second, where you learn to hold the fire of instinct without getting burned. The third, where the universe tests you with the most subtle temptation, ... and so on, until the 7th and final initiation, where desire and purpose become one and the same force. This is not another self-help video. It is a call to an initiation. The choice is yours. Continue in the cycle of pleasure and emptiness, of broken promises and frustration, or accept the challenge of passing through the 7 gateways that transform desire into strength, pleasure into power, and the common man into a master of himself. If you are truly committed to passing through each of these 7 initiations, subscribe to the channel. What we are about to explore next is the first practical step of this transformation, the first step in your initiation. Journey is not an action, it is an absence. It is not something you do, but something you stop doing. The first gateway is not a door you open to the world, but the door you close to it. It is the iron gate you lock against all your escapes. Every man who seeks self-mastery, without exception, must first pass through what the ancients called the dark night of the soul. A place where there are no guides, no applause, no validation, only the echo of your own mind. This is the first initiation, the mastery of silence and the confrontation with the inner void. The silence we speak of is not just the absence of sound, it is the absence of escape. In practice, it means turning off the phone, closing the laptop, ignoring the notifications. It means resisting the urge to turn on the music, the podcast, the television. It is a fast, not of food, but of dopamine. A fast from external stimuli. For the first time in years, perhaps in your entire life, you sit with yourself, with nothing to fill the space. And what happens in that space? Hell reveals itself. This is where most people quit, because in the silence, all the voices you've spent your life drowning out, with pleasure and distraction, begin to scream. The first voice is that of anxiety, a physical restlessness, a mental itch that tells you, do something, move, click something. It is your body in withdrawal from its addiction to stimuli. The second voice is that of doubt. It is your inner critic. Now, with nothing to distract it, it whispers, you're not good enough. Who do you think you are to try this? You're a fraud. You're going to fail, just like always. The third voice is that of fear. The fear of loneliness. The fear of facing how truly dissatisfied you are with your life. The fear that, underneath all the layers of distraction, there is nothing of value. And finally, the loudest voice, that of desire. The sexual urge, now raw, without the trigger of the screen, emerges from within. It is your body, programmed by habit, demanding its dose of relief. This is the monster in the cave. And your initiation, your only job here, is not to fight it, not to argue with the voices, not to repress the desire. It is just to stay. It is to sit in the middle of your own personal hell and watch the fire without getting burned. It is to feel the anxiety in your chest and not run to the phone. It is to hear the voice of doubt and not believe it. It is to feel the desire in your body and not act. The initiate learns the most important lesson. The void is not the end. It is the portal. Silence is the first cave, and every hero must pass through it to find true power. And in doing so, by simply observing, you make a discovery that changes everything. You realize that the overwhelming desire is, for the most part, a program. It's more mental than physical. It's an automatic response to discomfort, not a real biological need. And in that space, you create the space between impulse and action, in that millisecond of silence where you choose to observe instead of react. That is where your self-mastery is born. This first initiation has no glory. There are no lights, no mystical visions. There is only discomfort, internal tremors, and a brutal will to give up and return to the comfort of your prison. But the man who passes through this night, who endures his own emptiness and learns to be at peace with his own silence, emerges on the other side transformed. He is no longer a slave who reacts. He is a master who observes. Silence is a mirror, and only the man who has the courage to look at himself completely, without filters, without pleasure, and without distractions, earns the right to hear his true voice. He who passes through the silence is, for the first time, ready to listen to himself. After the noise of the world falls silent, a new sound becomes deafening. It's no longer the voice of your anxiety or your doubt. It is something much older, deeper, more powerful. It is the pulsation of your own instinct. It is the heat that rises from the base of your spine. It is the fire. You thought that by removing the external triggers, the desire would disappear. What a mistake. The desire didn't die. It just stopped being fed by cheap, artificial stimuli. Now, for the first time, you are feeling it in its purest, most concentrated, wildest form. This is where you enter the next gateway. This is the second initiation. The containment of the inner fire and the power to feel without reacting. This fire you feel is not sin. It is not weakness. It is not something dirty. It is your raw, vital energy. It is the Jung, the Kundalini, the raw material of your strength, your creativity, your very life. It's like holding a lit torch in your hands. You feel the immense power it carries, but you also feel the risk of getting burned. The common man, the uninitiated man, when he feels this heat, has only one reaction, a reflex conditioned by years of habit. He must discharge. He must relieve. He rushes to put out the fire the only way he knows how, by wasting it in momentary pleasure. He is commanded by the heat, like an animal guided by the scent of its prey. But you have been trained in the silence. You have learned to observe, and now you will apply that same observation to your inner fire. The initiation here is to learn the most powerful skill a man can develop, the ability to feel without reacting. What does this mean in practice? It means feeling the wave of arousal rush through your body, and not identifying with it. It means feeling the physical tension of desire, and choosing not to turn it into an escape. It means observing the thoughts and fantasies that the fire generates in your mind, and letting them pass, like clouds in the sky. You create a space between you, the consciousness that observes, and the desire, the energy that is observed. In that space, slavery ends. In that space, sovereignty begins. You are not repressing the fire. To repress is to fear it, to try and stifle it. That only makes it stronger and more chaotic. No, you do not repress it. You contain it. You become the container. You allow the fire to burn within you, without exploding outward. And it is here that the alchemy happens. This internal burning does not destroy you. It refines you. The intense heat of your contained desire begins to burn away your impurities, your weakness, your indiscipline, your neediness. Every impulse you feel, but choose not to follow, is like the strike of a blacksmith's hammer on hot steel. The sword is being forged, and the sword is your will. Slowly, you notice that what was once just raw instinct, just blind lust, begins to transform. The energy rises. It refines itself, and it manifests as higher qualities. Your mind gains a sharp clarity. Your presence gains a palpable magnetism. Your will gains an unshakable power. But be warned, this phase is dangerous. The fire is a trickster. It will whisper in your mind in moments of weakness. Just a little. Just for today. You need this. It will disguise itself as neediness, as loneliness, as anxiety. It will try to convince you that the pressure is unbearable. This is why the initiate needs discernment. He must remember, I am not fighting desire, I am transforming it. Most men fall here. They can't take the heat. They want the power, but not the discipline. They want the crown, but not the furnace. But the man who persists, the man who learns to hold the fire, something fundamental changes within him. Pleasure stops being his boss and becomes his servant. Energy stops being his master and becomes his tool. Because the man who learns to feel without reacting is no longer governed by the invisible world within him. He begins to govern it. You survived the dark night of the silence. You learn to hold the fire of your own instinct. You have accumulated power. You feel strong, clear, perhaps for the first time in your life. And it is, right now, at your moment of greatest apparent strength, that the true test begins. The universe, or your own soul, needs to know if this new strength of yours is real or just an illusion. And the test does not come in the form of an enemy you can see. It doesn't come with swords or screams. It comes as a whisper. It comes disguised as comfort. It comes in the form of an invitation to go back to sleep. This is the third initiation, the crossing of temptation and the choice of purpose over pleasure. Understand the nature of temptation. It is not stupid. It is an ancient and cunning intelligence. It doesn't attack you where you are already strong. It doesn't offer you an obvious pornographic video in the middle of the day when your mind is sharp and your discipline is high. No, it waits. It arrives at the end of an exhausting day when your defenses are low. It arrives in the silent, early morning hours when loneliness grips your chest. It arrives right after a great achievement, when your ego whispers that you deserve a reward, and the form it takes is perfectly designed to exploit your crack in the armor, your unhealed wound. It could be a text from an ex-girlfriend, appearing out of nowhere, on the very day you felt the most needy. She doesn't just represent a person, she represents the comfort of the past, the promise of easy relief, the path back to the man you used to be. It could be a new person who enters your life and seems perfect. She is drawn to your new magnetism, to your new light, but she doesn't understand the discipline that forged that light. She offers you pleasure without asking for anything in return, except for your energy, your focus, your mission. Or, the most dangerous of all, the temptation can come from your own mind, the voice that sounds just like yours. The voice that rationalizes, it's been 30 days. You've already proven your point. One time won't hurt. You need to release this energy. This is not your personal struggle. This is the archetypal hero's struggle. Every great figure, mythical or historical, who accumulated power had to pass through this same initiation. Christ, after fasting for 40 days in the desert and accumulating immense spiritual power, was tempted. What was he offered? Physical pleasure, turning stones to bread. Worldly power, the rule of all kingdoms. Ego validation, proving he was the Son of God. The temptation attacked his most basic human vulnerabilities. Buddha, sitting under the Bodhi tree on the threshold of enlightenment, was assaulted by the demon Mara. What did Mara use? His most beautiful daughters to awaken lust, his armies to awaken fear, and the promise of earthly power to awaken the ego. In both cases, the test is the same. The temptation is an offer for you to trade your newly won spiritual power for a lesser, easier, and more immediate prize. This is where you understand the true nature of your choice. As the original script says, every temptation is a disguised question, and the question is always the same. What do you love more? Do you love the 10 seconds of relief more? Do you love the validation of another person more? Do you love the comfort of going back to who you were more? Or do you love the man you are becoming more? Do you love your clarity, your discipline, your mission? Do you love your freedom? Here your no stops being an act of repression and becomes an act of devotion. You don't say no out of fear of pleasure. You say no out of love for your purpose. Every time you look temptation in the eye and choose the harder path, you are not losing anything. You are proving to yourself, at the deepest level, that your mission is more sacred than your comfort. Your vital energy, as the script says, is a sacred currency, and you decide you will no longer use it to fund the enemy within the enemy of your clarity, your strength, and your destiny. Temptation is necessary. It is the light that illuminates the cracks that still exist in your armor. It shows you exactly where you are still weak, where your neediness still lives, and by resisting, you don't just defend yourself. You weld that crack shut. You become stronger, more whole, more unshakable when you pass this test. When you choose your purpose over pleasure, you don't go back to the starting line. You level up. Your identity shifts. You are no longer an addict in recovery. You are a man devoted to his mission, and your relationship with pleasure is transformed forever. It ceases to be a tyrannical master and becomes At best, an occasional servant, one you can choose to employ or not, according to your sovereign will. Because the man who crosses temptation no longer needs pleasure to feel alive. He has found life within himself. This battle against temptation is universal, but at the same time, deeply personal. Its voice adapts to each of us, knowing our weaknesses and whispering exactly what we need to hear to falter. I want to use the collective wisdom of this space to bring that voice into the light. Feel free to share, even anonymously. What is the most common lie that your temptation whispers to make you turn back? Is it the "you deserve it," the "just today won't hurt," or the voice of neediness that says you need relief? By exposing the lie, we take away its power. Your comment might be exactly what another man needs to read to recognize the same trap in his own mind. You have crossed the silence. You have contained the fire. You have survived temptation. The warrior has proven his worth, not to the world, but to himself. And now, the question changes. The journey stops being about what you must avoid, and starts being about what you can build. The energy that you defended with such discipline, that you purified in the furnace of temptation, does not disappear. It is there. Accumulated, clean, potent. Desire stops being an enemy to be fought, and reveals itself as a powerful ally. This is where true mastery begins. Welcome to the fourth initiation, the alchemy of transmutation and the channeling of desire into creation. Desire, you now realize, was never the problem. The problem was always the direction. The common man, when he feels this force rise, knows only one path for it: down and out. The path of relief, of waste. The initiate, the alchemist, has learned to direct it up and in. Transmutation is not a mystical concept. It is a process of redirection. It is taking the most primal and powerful energy in your body, the energy of procreation, and using it as fuel for your higher faculties, your mind, your heart, your spirit. The force that once rose only to your waist now continues its journey. You feel it rise to your chest, manifesting as courage and compassion. It rises to your throat, manifesting as speech with more weight and truth. And it rises to your mind, manifesting as a clarity you have never known. This is where the man who was just resisting becomes a man who is creating. You wake up in the morning, and the brain fog that was once your constant companion is gone. In its place is a razor-sharp focus. The energy that was once spent on fantasies, on chasing stimuli, on fighting yourself, is now 100% available for your mission. Procrastination dies, not by willpower, but by lack of space. You have so much accumulated energy that you must build, you must do, you must act. Your creativity explodes. Ideas, which were once rare, begin to flow. You find solutions to problems that once seemed impossible. Why? Because sexual energy is creative energy. The same force that creates a new life is the force that creates a new idea, a new work of art, a new business. You are no longer wasting your raw material. Your magnetism deepens. You look people in the eye with more presence. You speak with more authority, without needing to raise your voice. People feel something different in you. They feel that you are ... full, whole, that you need nothing from them, and that self-sufficiency is the most potent form of attraction. The initiate, at this stage, learns to use his desire as a signal. Desire ceases to be a destination. It becomes a compass. When the fire rises, the question is no longer, how do I get rid of this? The question becomes, what will I create with this? Desire becomes a call to creation, not a cry for consumption. It is the language of your soul, saying, create, expand, give form to the invisible. And the more you listen to this call, the more you honor this energy by directing it to your purpose, the more the universe seems to conspire in your favor. This is where you finally understand. There is no sexual energy on one side and spiritual energy on the other. It is all the same force, the same flame, and your only choice is whether that flame will burn down your life in a blaze of empty pleasures, or if it will illuminate your path as the torch of your purpose. Transmutation also brings a deep peace. The internal war is over. Desire is no longer an enemy to be fought with guilt and shame. It is part of the flow. It is your ally. It is your power. You learn to honor it, not by ceding, but by using it for a higher good. And in doing so, by overflowing this energy into everything you do, you don't just transform yourself. You begin to transform the world around you. And it is precisely at this point, when neediness dies, that you finally become worthy of experiencing intimacy at its highest level. The desperate search for relief ends, and the possibility of sacred union begins. This is the fifth initiation, the revelation of sex as a sacred portal and communion. To understand the depth of this initiation, you must first look back and face what sex was for you before. With brutal honesty, you must recognize the illusion you were living in. For the uninitiated man, the slave man of pleasure, sex serves three lower purposes. First, it is relief, a release valve for the accumulated pressure of stress, anxiety, and raw desire. It's a quick act, focused on discharge, that leaves a trail of emptiness and drained energy. Second, it is validation. It is a way to prove his masculinity, to conquer, to inflate his ego. The other person is not a partner. They are a trophy. The act is not about connection. It's about performance. He seeks silent applause for his fragile self-esteem. Third, it is anesthesia. It is the most potent escape from boredom and loneliness, as we have seen. It is a distraction that keeps him from confronting his own inner emptiness. When the initiate looks at his past, he feels a grief for every touch that was given without presence, for every body that was used as an object of relief, for every moment of potential intimacy that was sacrificed on the altar of the rushed orgasm. This grief is the purification of the temple. It is the farewell to profanity, and from these ashes, a new understanding is born. The man who has transmuted his energy no longer enters intimacy as a beggar, but as a king. He does not come to take. He comes to share. And what does he share? He shares his presence. His mind, now clear and focused, is no longer lost in fantasies or performance anxiety. When he is with his partner, he is fully there. His gaze is steady. His listening is deep. He sees her. He feels her. He shares his energy. He is a fountain, not a drain. He brings calm, stability, and strength to the interaction. His contained energy creates a safe space for the feminine energy to flourish, to express itself, to trust. He shares his control. He is no longer a reactive animal, desperately rushing toward a climax. He is the master of his own fire. He can sustain the energy. He can play with it. He can elevate it. This is where sex stops being a physical act and becomes what the original script calls a prayer made with the body. The union ceases to be about the friction of skin and becomes a communion of souls. What is this communion? It is the fusion of two energy fields. It is the dance of the archetypal polarities, the divine masculine and feminine. The initiate, with his firm presence and contained energy, becomes the pillar, the stable axis. He creates the sacred vessel where the energy of both can expand and reach heights that relief sex could never dream of. This is where sex reveals itself as a sacred portal in a state of mutual presence, without the ego's rush for a discharge. The accumulated sexual energy can open portals of consciousness. It is a state that transcends the body. It is a moment of fusion where the boundaries of I and other dissolve, and what remains is a sense of unity, of an ecstasy that is not just physical, but spiritual. It is a glimpse of the divine, achieved through the temple of the body. A man who experiences this, even just once, is changed forever. He can never again return to the empty, superficial sex of the past. It would be like a king going back to eating crumbs. And the inevitable consequence of this revelation is radical selectivity. He doesn't become selective out of arrogance, but out of profound self. He understands that his vital energy is sacred. He understands that every sexual exchange is an energetic fusion that will shape him forever. As the script says, sex without consciousness is not pleasure, it is fragmentation. Every time he unites with someone who does not resonate with his soul, who does not share his reverence, he fragments himself, he weakens himself, he betrays his temple. He learns to say no, not out of fear, but out of honor. He prefers the peace of his own company to the fragmentation of an empty connection. His standard rises. He no longer seeks a body to use, but a soul to dance with. He no longer needs sex, and because of that, he becomes free to choose it wisely, with reverence, and with an open heart. He no longer enters intimacy to feel whole. He enters because he is already whole. If this vision of sex as a sacred portal and intimacy as communion resonated with something true inside you, hit the like button. It's a silent way to honor this perspective and to signal that you recognize the depth that has been forgotten. After glimpsing the sacred in intimacy, you understand that your energy can no longer be treated lightly. The war against desire is over. Now, the governance of your inner kingdom begins. You stop being the warrior who fights the fire and become the wise man who walks with it. This is the sixth initiation, the awakening of the guardian and the balance of energy. The guardian no longer lives in extremes. He does not practice the rigid abstinence of the ascetic, nor does he surrender to the hedonism of the common man. He has found the middle way, the balance between containment and expression, between discipline and lightness. The guardian's primary tool is discernment. He becomes a master of timing. He no longer acts on impulse. He acts from intention. He learns to feel his energy and to ask, is this the right time? Is this the right place? Is this the right person? Does this action serve my highest purpose? He understands that his vital energy is a finite and sacred resource. He doesn't waste it. He invests it. The guardian becomes selective, not out of ego, but out of self. He is selective with what he consumes, with whom he connects, with the environments he frequents, because he understands that everything is vibration, and that everything either nourishes him or drains him. He learns to say no with peace, and to say yes with total presence. He no longer needs to prove his masculinity, because he has become whole, and whole men do not conquer, they radiate. This initiation is the beginning of mastery, the transition from instinct to command. The world around you begins to change, not because you control it, but because you have finally learned to govern yourself. And when the guardian's vigilance becomes as natural as breathing, when balance is no longer something you seek, but something you are, the last door opens, the effort ceases, sovereignty reveals itself in its totality. This is the seventh and final initiation, the conquest of the crown and inner sovereignty. This initiation is not an action, it is a state of being. It is not achieved by force, but by surrender. Here, the man no longer fights, no longer controls. He has become one with his energy. The desire that once pulled him down now sustains him from within. Sex is no longer an impulse or a need. It is the purest expression of the soul. The body becomes a temple, and sexual energy, a silent prayer. This man is not in abstinence. He is in sovereignty. He can choose to love. He can choose to overflow, but no longer from neediness, but from abundance. The crown is not a trophy. It is a vibrational state. It is when the energy rises to the crown of the head and connects with the divine. It is when desire does not descend to instinct, but ascends to the spirit. The world recognizes this man without him saying a word, because he carries something that cannot be faked. He carries peace. The peace of one who is no longer a slave to the body, nor a prisoner of pleasure, nor a fugitive from silence. the peace of one who has reconciled with his fire and now, simply by being, illuminates the path for others. If you have come this far, it was not by chance. Something inside you has awakened. These 7 initiations are not a religion, but they belong to the soul of every man who seeks the truth. If this journey has touched you, and you are ready to reclaim your power, join us. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to the Neuro Alchemy channel to continue this journey of self-mastery. To seal your decision, comment below, "I accept my initiation." And if you know another man who needs to hear this call, send him this video. Help rebuild the sacred masculine. We'll see you in the next video.